नान्यते अन्यमाने शरीरे.
Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. The soul is never born. Na jayate. Next thing, na mriyate. Nor does it ever die. The soul is never born. It never dies. Na mriyate va kadachi. Neither was it born in the past. Nayam bhutva bhavitavana bhuya. Nor will it born in the future. Bhuya. Again it will not take birth. The soul is a part of Krishna and it is an eternal entity. So the soul is never born, na jayate, nor does it die, na mriyate. Neither it was taken past in the past it has taken a birth, nor in the future it will take birth. It has no growth, nor decay, nor transformation. If you remember in the previous slides, we discussed how a living entity has 6 stages. Anybody remember those 6 stages of a body?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Yeah, what were the 6 stages which were mentioned in the previous slide?
Just it's coming to being, when it's growth,
Taking birth, then growth.
it produces offsprings, and it dildos, and it has.
Yeah. So growth, there is a birth, there is a growth, there is a maintenance, there is a production, and there is death. So these 6 stages are of the body. Here Krishna very specifically is saying, but the soul never takes birth, neither it will take birth in the future, nor it has taken birth in the past. It doesn't grow, it never decays, there was no transformation. Ajo nityo. Ajo means which has not never becomes decayed or never grows. Nitya means always. It remains always the same. Being most ancient. Ajo nityo shashvato. Shashvato means the ancient thing. But not subject to aging. Purano. Like Krishna is also called as Purusham Puranam. He is the foremost of all living entities. And he is the father of all living entities. So not subject to aging. So we are also part and parcel of him, but we are minute in nature. Krishna is the supreme Sachidananda Vigraha, but we are having a minute part and parcel of Krishna. So we are not quantitatively one with Krishna, but we are qualitatively one with Krishna. So that's why we also don't age. The soul never, body becomes old and decays, but soul never does. Thus it is not killed, na hanyate, when the body is killed. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. So some of the description is being told here about the soul. The eternal nature of the jiva is here clearly proven. Very beautiful verses are these. If these verses are kept in mind, and if somebody comes and asks you about our philosophy, you can very easily quote these verses, or you can remember the references from where these verses are present. The overview of Bhagavad-Gītā helps in this way, that at least we understand that where all these verses are. And if we want to refer which chapter, we have to go and search out these verses. And if you see Prabhupada in the end of Bhagavad-Gītā, there is a whole list of verses. Even if you remember some words, initial words of the verse, like if you remember just na jayate, if you remember this word and you don't remember the whole verse, you can go to Bhagavad-Gītā in the end of, there is a whole list of these verses and the page number also given. So immediately you can jump. And that time people were asking why there is a need of such a list of all these verses. And now we realize if you are just remembering only 2-3 words of a verse, if you want to refer the entire verse, you can immediately jump to that page. So even if we just remember where these references are and which chapter they are, so we can refer them in the future, and whenever we are actually preaching to someone or telling something about Krishna consciousness. It exists at all times, meaning that at no time in the past, present, or future will it be destroyed. So the soul is never destroyed at any time. Therefore, it is eternal. So question can be asked. But because the soul exists for a long time, it can grow old. It is existing in the body for a long time. We see the body is getting old. So soul doesn't get old. No, it is old. Yes, it is a most ancient thing, but it always remains new. Just as Krishna is the most, we can say, the oldest person in the planet, or oldest person in the entire cosmic creation. He is the person who has created everything. But he always remains a 16-year-old child, 16-year-old adult boy. So in this way, we are also part and parcel of him. Our body becomes old. We have gray hairs. Brahmacharis don't have hairs. But the soul, the body might be old, but the soul never gets old. It always new. Question again. With the death of the body, will it not die along with the body? It doesn't die when the body dies, but it is joined permanently with the body. The soul is not subservient to it. So there is a presence of soul in the body. That's why there is a consciousness in the body. So when the soul leaves, there is nothing in the body. So death is just a definition of death is that the soul is leaving the body. The Katha Upanishad, Srila Prabhupada says, we also find a similar kind of a verse. This is verse from Katha Upanishad. Na jayate mriyate va vipaschin nayam kutaschin na babhuva kaschid ajo nityo shashvato ayam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. So some words are changed, but otherwise same verse has been quoted in the Katha Upanishad. So the meaning and purport of this verse is the same as in the Bhagavad-Gītā. Prabhupada says, sometimes we do not find the sun in the sky owing to clouds or for some other reason, but the light of the sun is always there, and we are convinced that it is there for daytime. So sometimes the sun is covered by the clouds, but because of the light present everywhere, we understand that it's a daytime. The consciousness of the individual soul is prone to be forgetful. So similarly, the consciousness is there inside the body, but the individual person has become unconscious of the presence of this soul. So he has become forgetful. He has this forgetful nature that there is a presence of soul. Yudhishthira Maharaj was asked, what is the most astonishing thing in this world? And he said, Ahani ahani bhutani gachanti yama alayam. Every day and every day, people are going to the abode of Yamaraj. But still the person who is there in this world, he thinks that my turn will not come. This is only because we don't understand our eternal nature. We think that we are this body, we are busy, outside people are busy decorating this body. So that's why they're not able to understand the proper this constitution position of our existence. But Krishna is not like the forgetful soul. Although we forget Krishna, but he doesn't forget. Veda vinashinam nityam ya enam ajam avyayam katham sa purusha partha kam ghatayati hantikam. He who knows constantly that the soul is indestructible. So the person who is having this understanding that my soul is indestructible, like Prabhupada was giving this lecture about the nature of the soul. So he was many times quoting this thing. My soul is like this, and my soul is part and parcel of Krishna, and it is indestructible in nature. He was giving lecture on the knowledge of the soul. So Prabhupada was many times using this word, my soul, my soul. So in the end, somebody said, Prabhupada's soul is like that, but our soul is not. We are this body only. So many times this consciousness, like after a lot of hearing and chanting and understanding of this knowledge of the soul, we come to this conclusion, at least theoretically, we come to this point that we understand we are not this body, we are this soul. So the person who knows constantly that the soul is indestructible, unborn, without decay. Veda, Veda means the person who knows. Avinashinam means indestructible. Nityam, always. Yainam ajam avyayam, the unborn and without decay. Avyayam means without decay. So the person who understands this nature of the soul, katham sa purusha partha kam ghatayati hantikam. He doesn't kill anyone. For how can he kill the Atma? Because if the understanding is there that everyone's soul is an eternal part and parcel of Lord, so how can he think of killing someone? Nor does he cause others to kill anyone. Or how can he cause others to kill the Atma? Atma is never killed. So how can he think that I'm causing others to kill? If Krishna is telling Arjuna that you go and kill these people, fight this war, this is not actually the killing of the Atma. It is just a change of body. So even causing others to kill anyone, how can this happen? Because soul cannot be killed. That is the nature of the soul. Prabhupada says everything has its proper utility. A man who is situated in complete knowledge knows how and where to apply a thing for its proper utility. Why this is being said? Because Arjuna was thinking, I'm having a violence. And sometime in our world also, many people speak a lot about non-violence. Non-violence should be having, we should not hurt anyone. So many things people say. But Prabhupada says everything has its proper utility. Violence is also required. Violence also has its utility. And how to apply violence rests with the person in knowledge. So the person who is not having any knowledge and is not having proper guna of sattva guna to apply that knowledge, to apply that violence, because it's a utility. So many wars have taken place to establish dharma. If we just count, the number will be like mind-boggling. So many wars have taken in our state, Maharashtra. Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj is famous, and everybody is a follower of him, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Why? Because he was Dharma Rakshak. He fought so many battles just to protect the Dharma. So some people, they had this philosophy of non-violence, but violence is necessary, and if it is applied with proper knowledge and under the guidance of their gurus, then it has a very great effect. And in recent India-Pakistan war also, many times this violence has been applied so that we can protect our border and the culture inside the state. A surgical operation is not meant to kill the patient, but to cure him. Very beautiful example Prabhupada gives. Like a person with knife and everything, he starts an operation, surgical operation. It's meant to cure the person. It's not to kill the patient. So that's why the knowledge is necessary to apply the utility. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grahanati naro parani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi. Somebody would like to recite this verse?
Hare Krishna. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani granati naroparani tata sarirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi.
Okay, anyone else?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, Mataji, please continue.
Vasamsi jirnani yata vihaya navani granati naro aparani tata sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi. Hare Krishna.
Okay, very nice. Somebody had already, you have heard this
Hare
verse?
Krishna.
Very
Yes.
famous, I think.
Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grahanti naroparani tatha sarirani vihaya jirnani अन्यानि सम्यति navani dehi.
So the picture itself says the whole story. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihai. When our clothes become old, we throw them away. Or we stitch them at least. If they are too much old, then we throw them away or we make some carpets out of it. And accepts new ones. Navani grahanati naro parani. This is the thing which goes in this world. So the soul gives up the old bodies and attains the new ones. This section of knowledge of the soul is very important of Bhagavad-Gita and very beautiful and very thought-provoking verses are there. And people who have acquainted with these verses, they can very easily preach to the people, to the new people, to make them understand about the existence of our soul and body. So as a man gives up old clothes and accepts a new one, so the soul gives up the old bodies and attains new ones. Arjuna was crying that these bodies I'm affectionate to, Bhishma and Drona. So Krishna is telling, don't worry, they are becoming old now. Ultimately, they will be giving up these old clothes and they will be having new bodies. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavaka, na chainam kledayantapo, na shoshayati maruta. Somebody would like to recite?
Nayanam chindanti shastrani, nayanam dahati pavakaha, machainam vedayanti apo, nasochayati marutaha.
Weapons do not cut the soul. Naenam chindanti. Chindanti means to cut. Shastrani, by any weapon. The fire weapon does not burn it. Naenam dahati pavaka. Pavaka means fire. The water weapon does not wet it. Nachainam kledayanta apa. Apa means water. The wind weapon does not dry it. So why the word weapon is used? Because earlier the warriors used to have these different weapons, fire weapon, water weapon, wind weapon, in which they used to defeat many of their enemies. So if Arjuna throws such kind of arrows towards Bhishma and the other parties, so they will not be burned, which means their soul will not be burned. The fire does not burn it. It means the soul here. Water weapon does not wet it. So nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavaka, na chainam kledayantapo, na shoshayati maruta. A question can be asked from the Arjuna side. But just as the house dweller is destroyed when his house is burned, when the body is destroyed by the blow of weapons, the soul should also be destroyed. We are staying in a house and the house is on fire. So when we are staying in the house will also burn and we will also burn. So when the body is destroyed by the weapons, the soul should also be destroyed, because that is the soul is there in the body. So Krishna says, no, swords cannot cut it. Fire weapon cannot burn it. The rain weapon cannot wet it. The wind weapon cannot dry it. Accordingly, the Atma is not disturbed at all by being exposed to all these types of weapons. Achedyo ayam adhayo ayam akledyo ashosha evacha nitya sarvakatasthanur achlo ayam sanatana. The soul cannot at all be cut. Achedyo cannot be burnt, cannot be moistened or dried. It is eternal, traveling in all types of body. Nitya sarvagata sthanur achalo ayam sanatana. Sanatana means the eternal. So very important word is there. The soul is eternal. So even if Brahmavadi says that we are going to merge and we will lose our existence, Krishna says no. It is traveling in all the bodies and the existence of the soul is eternal, with fixed form and fixed qualities. Qualities doesn't change for the soul. Qualities of the body change because of the modes we acquire from the surroundings. From our surroundings, we acquire Right now in the current situation of Kali Yuga, so many people are affected by these modes of passion and ignorance. They are prevailing everywhere. So this body is acquiring these kind of modes, and similarly the new bodies will be based on these modes which we acquire from the three modes of material nature. But the soul's qualities and form remains the fix. Bodies keep changing. The soul will keep traveling in different bodies with the same qualities, and what is the eternal nature of the soul? As it is stated in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Jivaira Swarupa Hoy Krishnera Nityadas. The eternal nature of soul is to become servant of the Krishna, to Krishna's lotus feet, to serve Krishna's lotus feet. So in this way, that is the eternal nature of all living entities. But because of the different modes which are prevalent everywhere, mostly as Bhagavatam says, Kali Yuga is full of Nisattvan. There is no Satoguna in Kali Yuga. So these modes will keep on increasing day by day, year by year. But the nature of the soul will always remain same. Soul is uncleavable, unburnable, insoluble, and indissoluble. The Atma is called all-pervading because it accepts all types of bodies, different kinds of bodies. As Prabhupada many times used to quote, Jalaja Navalakshani Stavra Lakshmimshati Rudro Kurma Sankhyanam Manushyanam Chaturvimsha. So 4 lakh species of human beings are there. Living entities staying in the water are Navalakshani, 9 lakh species. 84 in total. 84 lakh species are there in this world of man, devata, bird, and beast. So many are there. And one after another, we get these bodies based on our karmas. But the soul inside all these bodies remains the same, with same nature. The Atma also possesses a fixed form and fixed qualities. Srila Prabhupada says, the word Sarvagata, all-pervading, is significant because there is no doubt that living entities are all over God's creation. They live on the land, in the water, in the air, within the earth, even within the fire. So within the fire also there are living entities. The belief that they are sterilized in fire is not acceptable because it is clearly stated here that the soul cannot be burnt by fire. The soul is not burnt by fire, that means soul is present in the fire itself. In the fire also there are living entities which are not sterilized. Therefore, there is no doubt that there are living entities also in the sun planet with suitable bodies to live there. So people are staying in sun planet also, but they have body different than us. There they can sustain, as we are sustaining in these climates of 40 degrees or 50 degrees. So sun planet also, and some of the living entities don't survive in these temperatures which we have in our planet Earth. So similarly, there are living entities who can survive higher degrees of temperature, and they are staying with sun god. Avyaktoyam achintoyam avikaryo ayamuchyate tasmad evam viditvainam nanushochitam arhasi. The soul is imperceptible, inconceivable, without changes. Knowing it thus, you should not lament. You should not lament that these souls which are standing in front of you, they will change. They will not change. Their bodies will change. The Atma is understood only through scriptures. It is not subject to the 6 changes. We discussed what are the 6 changes of the body. So Atma is not subjected to these changes. The repetition of the words, which are these words being repeated, we will see the words again. So if you see in this verse, avyaktoyam achintoyam avikaryoyam uchyate tasmadevam viditvainam nanam sochitum arhasi. Achalo ayam sanatana. Okay, it was there in the previous verse, I think. Yeah. in this verse. So if you see, there are two words being repeated, Nitya and Sanatana. Nitya means always existing, Sanatana means eternal. So almost both the words are having same meanings. So to emphasize the nature of the Atma, Krishna is repeating these words as Nityam and Sanatana. So the repetition of words signifying the eternal nature of the soul in this section as Nitya and Sanatana. Just as one will repeat several times in order to make certain things understandable, like this is the dharma of Kali Yuga, this is the dharma of Kali Yuga. So Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam, Kalo nasteva, nasteva gatiranyatha. So there is a repetition. So similarly in this verse also there are two words which are being repeated and they are having almost same meanings, Nitya and Sanatana, to give the significance that this nature of the soul is eternal. Srila Prabhupada says, there are many things we have to accept solely on the ground of superior authority. Many times Prabhupada used to say that we accept so many things in our life and we don't use our logic there, or we stop, we have so much faith in that subject matter that we don't question much. Like Prabhupada used to give many times example of traveling in an airplane. We sometimes know that there are accidents but because they are very rare accidents, so we have full faith and we have not seen the driver or the person who actually runs the airplane. So but we have faith. So similarly, but when it comes to religion, people are so many questions before accepting some path, and if it is a genuine path, they will keep questioning so many things. The person who has developed good Shraddha, Ado Shraddha, he can accept the process very easily. So there are many things we accept solely on the grounds of superior authority. There is no source of understanding the identity of the father except by the authority of the mother. Similarly, there is no source of understanding the soul except by studying the Vedas or the scriptures which Krishna has given us, Bhagavatam and Bhagavad-Gīta. अथाचैनं नित्यजातं नित्यं वा मन्यसे मृतं तथापि त्वं महाबाहो नैनं शोचितुमर्हसि. Even if you think the soul is continually born and always dies. So Arjuna might say that understandable, that soul never dies, you are speaking that soul never takes birth. But there are people outside who will say that we have taken birth. They might not believe in this funda that a soul never dies. So Krishna says, okay, even if someone thinks that soul is continually taking birth and always dying, which is not the fact, soul is eternal, as Krishna has stated in the previous verses. But Krishna is giving an argument that even if you think the soul is continually taking birth and dying, still there is no need to lament, because you understand that it has taken birth, it will die. So there is a finishing point. Still you should not lament, O mighty armed Arjuna, because if Bhishma has taken birth, one day he will die also. So then what is the need of lamenting? So Lord now speaks of the opinion of others. These are the opinion of others. This is not Lord's opinion. This might be the opinion of others that the soul takes birth and dies. So Krishna says that still you don't have to lament, because one day the soul has to die. Jatasya hi dhruvar mrityo dhruvam janmamritasya cha tasmad apariharya arthe natvam sochitum arhasi. For what is born, death is certain. So body is born and death for the body is certain. For what is death? Dead, birth is certain. So when the body dies, again the next birth is certain, because the cycle of samsara continues. Therefore, since both are unavoidable, nobody can stop death and nobody stops someone else to take birth. They can try so many things, but I don't think anybody has conquered the death part or the birth part. They are stopping birth part by abortion and many things. And that is very sinful because the soul is present in the body and you are killing the soul in the body only. Soul is never killed, but you are killing the baby. His body is being killed. So that is not proper religious principle, but you're stopping the birth of some living entity. That means that there will be definite repercussions for that. And is some people, like in many countries, for killing someone there is a capital punishment or death punishment, but some countries they have made abortion as legal. So that is very heinous act because they are considering that there is no soul only in the body till the person has taken birth. And this is all happening because of illicit relationships. So here Krishna is saying the person who has born, death is certain, and person who is dead, like everybody has a birth certificate, and in the end they have a death certificate. So both are certain things. Therefore, since both are unavoidable, you should not lament. The body is redundant. This is very beautiful. The body is redundant. It keeps changing, but the Atma is eternal. Birth is a combination of Atma with previously non-existing senses and body. So what we call as birth is actually a combination of Atma with the previous sanskaras which the soul or subtle body was carrying. So that comes connected to this soul. Death is the separation of the Atma from that body with its senses. Because birth and death both arise from performance of dharma and adharma, birth and death primarily belong to a substrata or shelter of dharma and adharma, which must be eternal. Birth and death belong secondly to the body. So it belongs to the body only, it doesn't belong to the Atma. So in this way, these things have been explained from verse number 20 till 30th verse, these have been explained. So many things have been stated. If somebody has question till now, we can take up now. Just 2-3 verses we'll cover more and then we will end by 30th verse. If somebody has some comments or question now.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes. So, Prabhuji, so this, so the Buddhist actually, so they means Buddhist and the Mayavadis. So then they don't believe in the means rebirth of the soul, or
You're asking that whether they believe in the rebirth of the soul or not?
yes.
So I'm not sure, Prabhu. I've not read their philosophies, but definitely because they reject the Vedas and they reject the scriptures. So I'm not sure what is the philosophy of Buddhists. Generally, they think that they are getting merged into the voidism. I think that's your question is that whether if they believe that they will be merging into the existence. So yes, some of the aspect of the Vedas which says about these things that one day everyone who is practicing that path of Buddhist and Mayavadis, they will merge and they will lose their existence. But we believe on the philosophy of Bhagavatam, where Bhagavatam says in the 10th